Welcome to wet and windy Lancashire. It's table talk time. Hello and welcome to Model Kit Stuff and welcome to this week's table talk. It's a wet and windy Saturday morning. Now I usually record this on a Friday lunchtime, but for various reasons yesterday I didn't get around to it. So here we are actually on Saturday morning recording this. So this might go out a little bit later than usual. I usually aim to have my videos go out at 8 AM in the morning UK time. And with the exception of my builds, which obviously go out on a Friday night these days. It was a funny old week in many ways, lots going on, not all of it on the modelling bench. So my eldest daughter, a couple of weekends ago, I walked into a shop. If you're in the UK, you'll know it. It's called The Range, and they had application forms just sat inside the doorway. So I picked one up and passed it to my daughter. She's at college and she was starting to think about getting a Saturday job. Well, I was sort of telling her that she needed one. So she filled the form in, and I think we dropped it off a couple of days later. She got a phone call the same day. Went in the next day for an interview. She was in there 20 minutes tops. Literally, I dropped her off. She went in. I drove back. By the time I'd reached our little residence car park, she was ringing me to say she was out. And I turned the car around without even getting out and went and picked her up. Then about 5 hours later, she got a phone call. You've got the job. We'd like you to come in on Friday for an induction. Wow. So she was, yesterday, went in for her induction. She was in there for 4 hours, did all the paperwork, started doing a bit of shelf stacking. So she's going to be working in the art department. And if she behaves herself and she keeps the job for, I think it's 6 months, she'll get a staff discount. Well, I sometimes buy stuff from The Range, so good on her for getting a staff discount. Nice. So my daughter's had a good week from that point of view. A bit daunting for her. She's never had a job before, and we all remember our first jobs and being a little bit wet behind the ears and not knowing what to expect. So she's going through all of that. She also had another driving lesson, and that's going well. So all good on her front. The rest of us, we've all been unwell at some point. We've all had this strange sort of cold-like thing that you feel is coming one day. The next day, you've got a fever and a bit of a sore throat, and it really wallops you. And then the next day, it's all but gone away, and you've just left with a little bit of a sore throat and a recovery for a few days. So I think one way or another, we've all had that. So that knocked me out for a little bit of time. But other than that, we are all good. Anyway, if you're a new subscriber, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you find something on the channel that you like. I do always say to people when they make me aware that they've recently subscribed, or that they're enjoying the channel and they've recently come across it because of this video or that video, and I know I have some new subscribers on the back of the Go to Build. I always say, go and have a look at the back catalogue. There's 500 plus videos in there now. I've stopped counting them, to be honest, so it could be more. So I do put everything in playlists. Eventually, there's about a week, sometimes 2 weeks, depending on whether I remember to do it or not, in all honesty, lag between a video going out and being added to the playlist. That's because YouTube has this quirky, weird thing where if when you're loading the video up, you attach it to a playlist, it's visible to anybody who looks at the videos in a playlist. So I have people who were able to look at a video that was intended to be a premiere before it had gone live. So I now attach them once a week, like I say, if I remember. But yeah, go and have a look. There's all sorts of playlists out there. The first impressions videos, there's lots of. I've got tools, I've got tips, I've got looking at products. I've got loads and loads of stuff out there. So there's, especially if you're new to the hobby, there's lots of stuff out there. Some of the older videos, they're not quite as slick in terms of editing as my more recent videos are. That's just, you know, you get better with age and the more you do it, don't you? And if you've been a subscriber for a while, nice to have you back. It's always good to see you guys, especially when I'm able to catch up with you on a Friday on the live stream with the premieres. Not the live stream, the live chat, you know what I mean? But we did do a live stream this week. We'll talk about that in a minute. So there you have it. If you've not seen the Table Talk before, we talk a little bit about what's happened in the week, as you're perhaps already picking up, and then we talk about what's coming up. And I really don't know what we're going to talk about. I sit down, I bring my computer up, you can just about see it here. I've got a little spreadsheet that reminds me what we put out. So why do I have to remind myself what I did in the week? Well, I do quite a bit of video editing, so it's just an age thing. I forget which ones have actually gone out and which ones I've just scheduled up. And this week I did lots and lots of video editing and getting ahead. So I'm back to about 2 weeks ahead on my videos, with the exception of the Table Talks, which I usually record the day before, but we're recording on the day today, and the builds, because the builds take quite a long time to edit. So roughly on a build diary, when you see an hour-long video, that'll have taken me roughly somewhere between 2 and 3 hours to edit, plus initial recording time, and that slows your build time down because sometimes you're changing your camera angle, sometimes you're doing it and then fluffing it and re-recording it, or the postman knocks, or next door starts drilling a wall. You know, all these things are challenges for us YouTubers. But in the main, if you think about the modeling time, you might find that 3 hours of modeling time can be condensed into about an hour's video, 3 hours of editing time. So around about 6 hours of effort to produce one build diary video, roughly, on my channel anyway. So that editing time is something that takes me over the full course of the week. So I have a plan. So next build diary that you're gonna see on Friday will be completing the chipmunk. I don't know how long that video is going to be. So we might do a live stream as well. Don't know, not fully decided. When I've finished editing the chipmunk, then I'll know, and we'll see what happens. I haven't done a live stream on my own for a little while, so don't know how that's going to play out. So there is some parts of the week ahead. I still don't know what's going to go on yet. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's go back and rewind and think about what we did at the start of the week. So after last week's Table Talk, the first thing that came up on the Monday was my thoughts on making ice cold in Alex video. So I'd said to people, oh, I'll do one of those, because I'd started a diorama, oh gosh, many years ago. In fact, I would say 7+ years ago. So I had the Accurate Armour resin kit. I really wanted to do an ice cold in Alex diorama, and I selected the watering hole scene, as I talked about in the video. But then I separated from my estranged wife, and well, just strange really, and lots of my stuff got packed up in boxes, went up to my dad's, so a number of builds got paused, and I never really picked them up, because then when I moved in here with my partner Paula, things were shoved up in the attic, and then things have been moved around, and over time we've gradually sort of either finished building them or moved them into new locations and worked out what everything is. So that's why that one got paused. The actual kit itself, the resin kit, is really, really nice. And if you've never built an Accurate Armour kit, they are very, very good kits, but they take a lot more time than a plastic kit. There's a lot of cleanup, particularly on their earlier kits, and the Mark 1 Matilda, for example, the resin tracks, every single track needs complete cleanup, the full length of it, inside out, both sides. It's a huge, huge task. Not for the beginner, but lovely, lovely kits. So anyway, you now have my thoughts on Ice Cold in Alex. Generally, there's lots of options out there. But yeah, perfect. Now, someone made the comment that you can't build an Ice Cold in Alex vehicle from the Airfix kit. Well, you can. There is some details missing, but you do have the basic Katie decal on for the bonnet. But again, it all depends on how accurate you want to be. There's a whole spectrum of modelers out there, and many of them, like me, are just happy to build something, just like building. I just like building. It's why I also build Lego, because I just like building. And what Lego does is it sometimes gives me an opportunity to get a quick reward for something on some time, without the sort of whole falderal of thinking about painting it, weathering it, gluing it, and so on. So I quite enjoy Lego, and we are going to see a little bit more Lego coming up on the channel in the future, which is why I've mentioned it. Hey, we're called model kit stuff, not plastic model kit stuff. Lego is plastic, isn't it? Wednesday's first impressions was the Eduard Albatross, and what a lovely, lovely kit. If that kit builds up anything like it should do, then that's a stunning little kit in 148, and I'm genuinely spoilt for choice on those paint schemes. I like the black and white stripy one, but I love the one with the dragon. That's very, very different. And sometimes I'll choose a paint scheme by thinking about where's it going to be displayed. It's going to go on my shelf with my 148s. What have I got in the 148s? I've got a Silver Walrus. I've got a light green and grey Sea Fury. I've got a red, I forget the name of it, but it's another Eduard First World War biplane that's completely red all over. And I've got the tropical Hurricane that we built last year, was it? So when I think about that, the black and white one would stand out lovely, but then so would the one with the bright green tail and the red dragon. So I still don't know which way I'm going to go. A decision for the time, I think. But I thought the Albatross kit was absolutely stunning, even though it had one or two issues with the instructions, which is a common gripe, I think, about Eduard instructions. Even the Eduard Etch, which is where they started really, the instructions are really good as far as they go, but they don't tell you what colour to paint anything. Never have. So that they just fall short of fully giving you the full picture. And it's the same in their model kits. They don't fully give you the picture. There's always a little bit of guesswork to do with an Eduard kit, in my experience. Then of course we had the live stream. What an utter joy that was with Rob and with Jeff. Done a little a little trial run with Jeff the day before, and to be honest, all you need is the free version of StreamYard, and we can get you up and running. It was really easy. It came across really well. I massively enjoyed doing it, and I know the other guys did as well. Gave us all a chance to give people an update on where we were with our commercial vehicle group build. So yeah, very nice. I think the live streams are a lot of fun, but they do take up a bit of your time. Once you've got your head round them, they're a bit slicker. You can just switch it on. You can just run and go. So I've done 3 or 4 5 live streams, maybe 6 live streams now. So I'm starting to get a much better feel for it. That's my second one using StreamYard, and it makes it a lot easier. Yeah, I also think the format that we used, where we were sort of talking to camera and having a chat, I think that works better for me, because if you're doing modeling live stream, you can't concentrate on 2 things. So what you end up doing is you end up modeling, concentrating, and then you've got this complete quiet for the people live streaming. Now, I'm not saying I'm not gonna do a model building live stream ever. I've got the webcam, so I've got the equipment to do it. The real question is, would I do it? And I think probably not. I enjoyed the format that we did. Went down well. It seemed to be received well. We've had some nice comments thereafter. We're definitely doing at least one more, I'd hope more, live stream within the group build time frame, which is the end of April. Although you can see it's on my desk right now, and I'm trying to push ahead with it because I'm involved in another group build, and we haven't got a timeline for that. The timeline is once we have got the kit built. So we're all making the same kit. Once that's done, we'll present it. But yeah, a lot of fun. Thank you to everyone who came and joined us and left your comments and got involved in the chat. To be honest, a live stream only works if lots of you come along and engage with the live stream and talk to us. But it's a good way of people to catch up with people that they see on various other channels as well. And I see some people that come onto my live chat are also regulars on other live chats. So you start getting to know people, and you get a nice sense of community, which is something that as a modeler I never really had, because I was never a member of a model club. So it was really read the magazine, do the modeling. It was quite solitary. So the YouTube community that is built up around my channel is something I massively enjoy. So everyone who leaves a comment regularly, or joins the Saturday live stream and joins the chat, or comes along onto I said that again, live stream, didn't I? I meant Premiere. Or comes along to a live stream, it really expands my enjoyment of my hobby. So thank you, everyone. Brilliant. Yesterday we had the part 4 of the Go to build, and many people are enjoying that almost as much as I'm enjoying building it. What a lovely build experience the Wingnut Wings kit is. So if you don't know, that's my first ever Wingnut Wings build, and it's a proper joy doing all that wooden stuff. It is a proper joy. But you can see that you're nearly caught up with where I am. This is where I am up to. We've got the seat on, the seat harnesses, that interior rigging. So probably you've got the dials coming up next, and then probably painting the seat and installing it. Now, I'm not sure if that'll all end up in one video, but if it does, you'd be fully caught up. So my mission tomorrow, Sunday morning, is to try and push ahead with the GOTA. So we've got a framework that goes onto there. like an interior framework, and then we've got the outside parts to go on. So yeah, quite a bit of wood effect painting on the interior to do. So yeah, that's going to take a little bit of time. And I am messing around with propellers still. So having had a bit of a mess around and getting my head around how I was going to do my propellers, because I have done laminate propellers before using oils, and if you do a YouTube search how to paint wooden propellers, most people are doing it with oils and doing it the same way. But I wanted to try some new products like you've seen me do with the wood effects, using the crystal paint products and the oil brushes. And I've come up with a solution that is a sort of a hybrid on how I used to do it, but using some different products. And what you can see is we've got the basic yellow woods down there that have been glossed. You can see there's a bit of a shine on them. So they're ready for a second wood graining before we gloss it again, and then we can put the dark wood on, which goes on in just one. It doesn't need 2 layers like the light wood does. Then we seal it again, and so on. So that's a bit long-winded, so I might start chucking that in at the end of each go to build, so that each episode you see some progress on how we paint up the propellers. Not fully sure yet, but I've got a load to get stuck into on the GoTo to try and get us a little bit ahead of the video schedule, so fingers crossed. I'm also hoping that we'll get a build video out for the commercial vehicle build soon as well. So I think I've probably got enough content. What I want to do is get the interior built up and panelled up on the outside, and then we'll see how much footage we've got. We'll come back to that in a minute. But yeah, that brings you up to where we are this week. So what have I got coming up in the week ahead? So let's think. Monday I have an aircraft paint stand where we look at it, we also build it because it's fiberboard, and put it together, and give you a view of it. So it ends up being quite a long video. I think it's about an hour all in. As many of you know, I use a homemade paint stand at the moment, which is made from packing foam and kebab sticks, and it works brilliantly. But this was a gift, so my partner and I went to a model show, and what we generally do while I'm filming, she will go and find somewhere to sit, and she takes her iPad and she does some stuff while she's waiting for me, and then we have a wander around, and she'll come around the shop bits for me in some of the stalls, and we'll discuss some of the models we like. But on this occasion, she wandered off to one of the stalls I'd been looking at and been talking to about, and she bought a couple of items, and this is the first one that we're showing you. So the only reason I have a paint stand is because it was bought for me. But now I've got one, I'm going to use it, obviously. So that's Monday's video. On Wednesday, the first impressions is a Tamiya kit from 1972. Is it a classic? I'll let you decide in the video. It's one I built probably in the mid 80s as a teenager. I probably built it when I was 15, 16, 17, that sort of age. I remember it, so it was in the period when you would put on the base colours with a hairy stick, and that was it. And the finish of my models was terrible when I was a teenager, because I didn't really enjoy the painting, and because I didn't enjoy it, I didn't learn much about it. And like I said earlier, it's quite a solitary hobby at that stage. So what I did learn was from the magazines, and I didn't connect the fact that you needed to thin paint, so I didn't have thinners or anything like that. So basically, my paint consistency was what was in the paint can when it was mixed up with a cocktail stick. And I was, like many of you, I guess, I grew up on Humbrol enamels. So when I started being able to buy Tamiya paints from BT's, I treated them exactly the same. Stirred them with a cocktail stick and slapped it on. So my as much as my building skills improved, my painting skills really didn't improve until much later on, in fact. So yeah, I wanted to revisit it because I knew there was a lot more I could get out of that kit. So that's what's coming up on Wednesday. We've got that first impressions. Friday's build video, like I've already said, will be the last chipmunk, and then that will get you back to another table talk, and we'll discuss what's coming up there. Let's have a quick garden update. Time for a quick garden update. It's wet. Okay, let's have a look at how I'm getting on with the commercial vehicle build. So just as a reminder, what I am building is this ICM fire truck. It's going together beautifully. The fit is great, but the tolerances are tight, so you've got to make sure that you've not got any paint or anything on the joints. Otherwise, you find that the fit will start going off. The only real sort of wish it was different point on the kit is the fact that the doors are all molded in and I can't have a door open, which is a bit of a shame. The interior is actually quite basic, but with a bit of painting and weathering, you can make it quite interesting. So let's show you where I'm up to. We have the chassis fully built up, the engine's fully built up. I did have a little bit of a fit issue with the engine around the fan and the radiator, as you'll see when we put the build video out. You can see we've got this front section on with the engine bulkhead now in place, the glazing's in and masked, and that's allowed me to put all the little controls and fittings in. So that's done. The floor pan is painted up. I think we've probably mentioned that before. So that's been wood grained and then painted and then chipped with a chipping fluid. And then inside there we've got a dashboard, which I'm in the process of building and painting up. So we've got decals to do on that, and then we're pretty much done. The driver's seat is painted up but not weathered yet. And then on the back of the vehicle, you've got these two big side pieces. So I'm guessing on the other side there was a load of equipment and stuff, but you don't have access to any of that. That's sealed up. But there you go. You can see that's painted and weathered and ready to go in. You've got this bench seat. You can see that's been wood grained, and we have, light's not great, sorry, we have weathered that, so that all looks nice. And the same with these two little benches. And I take you through the process, my weathering process step by step. So we talk about levels of grime, which order to do it in, and so on. So there's a little bit of talk around that. I filmed the weathering of that lot last night, just after the video had gone out, the premiere had gone out. So that pretty much gets you up to date. I've done nothing on the Queen Mary 2. I'm struggling between these two builds to find time. Realistically, I think it's going to be a case of trying to push ahead with the Gopher. Once I've got past the cockpit, then we've got some big expanses of plastic, which is just fit it together and paint it. So it'll come together quite quickly. Although it's a large kit, from a Wingnut Wings kit point of view, it's probably one of the least complex Wingnut Wings kits now that I've got another couple. I can see that, but yeah, I need to get ahead with the Wingnut Wings so it can buy me a little bit more Queen Mary 2 time. So a little bit of juggling going on, but I'm enjoying it, and it means that if I'm not feeling like the commercial vehicle build, which I've got lots of time for, I can just park it and do something else. So hopefully if I get ahead with the Gotha this weekend, next weekend, we can do a bit more Queen Mary 2. And when we're nearly at enough material for a video, but going back to my earlier comment about how many hours of videoing you need to do, I've got at least another couple of hours of model videoing to do that before I can even say I've got enough for a video. So we're sort of at that point where I need to just push ahead on the builds. But I've also got to video some other bits and pieces, and one of the things that I want to video this weekend I'm quite excited about. So you know that I got a couple of CSM 1:32 scale aircraft kits recently, and one of them I've done as a first impressions, and I filmed it as a first impressions, and I was really quite deeply impressed with some areas of the kit, and I thought to myself, how does this actually stand up to Wingnut Wings? Because in principle you can't get Wingnut Wings anymore, and I know there's been some released into the market very recently. In fact, we're going to talk about another one in a minute. The reality is you're either paying silly money for one now, or that's it, you're done and you can't get any more. So if you want to buy a decent First World War 1:32 scale aircraft kit, whose kit are you going to buy? So we're going to have a look at this. This is the CSM Newport, which is one of their most recent releases. So we're going to have a look at this, but not in a first impression style, in a comparison. So in the same video, we'll compare it with my latest edition, which is this. Now I have to say I had a quick flick through this, but Peter Oxley's done a video on a version of this. I think his is the early version and this is the mid-production one, I think. Don't quote me on that. But this box is absolutely stuffed to the gills. It's much more detailed than any other Wingnut Wings kit I've got, and I've got 3 of them now, the other being the Halberstadt. Had to think about what it was called then. So this is the DFW, and I just got this from Jumblies. So 2-3 weeks ago they put some on pre-order. They're a little bit more expensive than Hans, I felt, but marginally, and they did have 1 or 2 different kits. So keep your eyes out in case somebody else puts some out, but I put it on pre-order. You put a deposit down for a tenner, and then I think 2 weeks later they were taking the rest of the money, and this arrived in my door within a couple of days. Really nicely packed and looked after, and everything's arrived safe. So what we'll do is we will do a full first impressions on this at some point, but we're going to use this as the comparison video with the CSM kit and see how they get on. So I think that'll be interesting. So yeah, that's my stash ad this week as well, I suppose. Very nice. So that's my priority for filming over the weekend, and then I'm going to get around to filming the Avro Lancaster ready for May, but there's no hurry to do that. When I look forward at what I've got in my schedule in terms of building stuff for first impressions and the like, I'm not so bad. I'm pretty much up to early May with videos, but I've got a plan that takes me up to, where are we, 5th of June, is pretty much where I've got a plan up to now in anything other than a build. Now, something I talked about a couple of weeks ago and I haven't got round to doing yet is put out a survey, and my brain's struggling. Put out a survey to get people's views on what warship to build next. So I've got a number of options. So I'm not going to film anything. What I might do is a little video like this, talk you through the options, and then you can vote for which one you would like to see. So I want to get people's view on what I do after the Queen Mary 2. So we'll put that out there, and whichever one is the most popular one, gets the most votes, first past the post, then we'll do that. If we have a tie, we might just do it again, or I might get Alice to pull it out of a hat or something like that. We'll see. But yeah, I'll probably do a little video. In fact, I might do it in a moment when I finish videoing this. So I think that could be it for this week's table talk. I probably took longer than I expected. I started this video thinking, oh, I've not got much to say this week. It might be a quick one. But then the mouth starts going, and there you are. It's like you can see, it feels like it's not been a great week for building stuff. So we are going to push ahead. I've got one or two other ideas that have popped up this week for some introducing basics videos. So I do get asked some questions. Oh, that's something I wanted to talk about. I do get asked some questions from time to time, and sometimes I use those questions as the basis to do a video. So the thought being that if people are asking me, people don't know, so I'll give you my view. And I must stress, anything you ever come across on this channel is just my view. It's not how to. There is more than one way of skinning any modelling cat, in all fairness. So there isn't any such thing as the way. There is just the way I do it. Right then, I don't want to have a rant, but I do want to say that I've had an increase in issues with trolls, and here how's it. This is how it plays out on my channel if you're a troll. So if you come along and you say something nasty about me or about somebody else who's made a comment, I do two things. Firstly, I block you from making any further comments on my channel, and then secondly, I remove your comments and nobody ever sees it anyway. So it is a waste of your time to be nasty to anybody on my channel. Okay, if you send me a nasty email, you know what? Once I realise you're being nasty, I won't read the rest of the email. I'll delete it and you'll never get an answer. And also, I'll block you from sending me any more emails. No one's ever going to see it, so don't waste your time. Okay? So I've had an upsurge in trolls in the last week and a bit. I've got new people finding the channel all the time, and with that, you occasionally get a prat. So prats, trolls, beware. You're not welcome here, and it won't wash. But to the rest of you lovely people out there, you enjoy your modelling in the week ahead. I will see you on the next table talk. I hope to see you on Friday at 9 PM when my video will go out with my next build, which will be finishing that chipmunk off, and then I can have a chat with you and you can have a chat with other viewers of the channel. Until then, have a great week, be productive with your modelling, stay well, bye for now.